Welcome to Fellow's Workspace Security Settings. Security settings give you granular control over who can access your workspace, how meeting content is shared, and what level of privacy or compliance measures are enforced. Let's break these down in detail. The first option is Delegated Access, a feature designed for executives, managers, and other leaders who rely on assistants or team members to manage their meetings. Delegated access allows a user to grant another person access to their account so they can schedule meetings, fill in agendas, review recordings, and manage tasks on their behalf. This is particularly useful for executive assistants, chiefs of staff, or anyone supporting senior leaders. In workspace settings, admins can control whether non-admins are allowed to assign delegates. Toggling this off means only admins can manage delegation, which can be important for companies handling highly sensitive information. Keeping this enabled makes it easier for large organizations to distribute meeting management responsibilities without involving admins every time. Next, let's cover Signup and Invite Controls. This section determines how people join your workspace. Because meeting recordings and transcripts often contain sensitive information, organizations need strict control over who is allowed in. Here's how this works. You can limit invitations to admins only, preventing non-admin users from inviting new members. You can choose between an invite-only model, where everyone must be explicitly invited, or an open model, where anyone with your workspace link can join. While the open model reduces administrative overhead, it can create security risks if the link is shared widely. Most organizations choose invite only to ensure only approved teammates gain access. This section also includes guest access controls. Guests are external collaborators such as contractors, clients, or prospects who can be temporarily added to your workspace for specific projects or meetings. Allowing guests can be a powerful tool for cross-company collaboration, but if your organization handles highly confidential data, you may prefer to disable it entirely. The Sharing and Collaboration section gives you detailed control over how meeting data is shared both inside and outside your company. First, you can toggle whether users are allowed to create public links for meeting notes, transcripts, and recordings. Public links make sharing fast and simple, which is great for sales or customer-facing teams. However, this also means anyone with the link could access that content, so organizations with strict privacy policies may want to disable this feature. Second, you can decide whether cross-workspace collaboration is allowed. This enables users to share content with other Fellow workspaces, which is valuable for multi-company partnerships, but may not meet every organization's compliance requirements. You also have a setting for download permissions. By default, Fellow allows users with access to a meeting recap to download the MP4 recording. Disabling this prevents meeting videos from being stored outside of Fellow, helping to contain sensitive content within your platform. Together, these controls give admins fine-grained power to balance flexibility and security. Redaction Controls includes a built-in redaction feature that lets users remove sensitive content from transcripts after a meeting has been recorded. This is helpful when confidential details are accidentally shared or when legal or compliance teams need to censor certain information. Admins can choose whether every meeting attendee has redaction permissions or if transcripts should remain locked and immutable. Some industries require transcripts to remain exactly as recorded, with no edits allowed, while others value the ability to remove sensitive data for distribution. This setting lets you meet both needs. Let's take a deep look at the Approved Domain section of your workspace settings. This is where you can see and manage the email domains that are connected to your Fellow workspace, as well as decide exactly how users from those domains are allowed to join. When you open this section, you'll see a table of every domain currently linked to your workspace. Alongside each domain, you'll also see the total number of active users associated with that domain, which gives you a clear picture of who's already connected. This level of visibility is particularly helpful for larger organizations, or for teams that work with multiple business units, partner organizations, or subsidiaries. Now, this section is closely tied to the Signup and Invite controls we discussed earlier. If your workspace has self-signup completely disabled, these domain settings will appear locked by default. In that case, nobody can join the workspace without an explicit invitation, regardless of their email address. This is the most secure configuration, and many companies, especially those in industries like finance, healthcare, or legal services, choose to operate this way. However, if you'd like to allow some degree of self-sign-up, this section becomes extremely powerful. Let's say your company has multiple internal domains. You may want employees to be able to sign themselves up instantly while requiring contractors to go through an invite process. With approved domains, you can do exactly that. This ensures your workspace remains tightly secured while still making it easy for the right people to get in. The final section in your security settings menu is Developer API and Logs, which is where Fellow gives you full control and visibility over how your organization uses its API. This is especially valuable for technical teams, IT administrators, and engineering leaders who want to extend Fellow's functionality or integrate meeting data with other internal systems, while also keeping a close eye on exactly how that data is accessed. When you first open this section, you'll see a toggle that controls whether API access is enabled or disabled for your workspace. This toggle is the master control for all API usage within Fellow. If your organization doesn't want individual users generating API tokens or integrating Fellow with external systems, you can simply turn this off, instantly blocking all API usage. However, enabling this unlocks a lot of flexibility for more technical organizations. Below the main toggle, you'll see the User API Tokens table. This is where every API key created by your team is listed, along with crucial metadata, the name of the token, the owner and their email address, the status of the key, whether it's currently active or inactive, the date created, so you know exactly when the key was issued, the last used date, so you can easily spot tokens that haven't been touched in months and may no longer be needed. On the far right, you'll find controls to disable or delete a token entirely. Disabling a token temporarily revokes access without deleting it, which is useful for troubleshooting or pausing an integration. Deleting a token removes it completely and permanently. At the top of this section, you'll also see the API log, which provides a detailed, real-time audit trail of every API call made in your workspace. For each request, you'll see the date and time of the request, the API key name that was used, the status of the request, showing whether it succeeded or failed, the method such as GET or POST, and the endpoint that was accessed, the actor, identifying which user initiated the call, the IP address the request originated from. This log is crucial for maintaining security and compliance. It gives admins full visibility into how data is being accessed programmatically, which teams are using it, and where requests are coming from. If your organization has strict security standards, this kind of transparency is invaluable for audits, incident investigations, and regulatory compliance. To make reporting easier, there's also an export button in the top right corner of the API log. Clicking this lets you download the log as a file, making it simple to share with your IT team, feed into your organization's SIEM system, or provide to auditors during compliance reviews. This concludes our security and API settings overview. Next, we'll cover Fellow's Note Taker and AI settings.